Alright, the cut has been made, and I'm going to dry fit it, see how it works. Okay, so the 14 1/4 is a little bit off. You can tell up there that it's very, very close. It's too close. This is my 1/8 of an inch spacing that I want, but there it's almost pushed up against. So again, you come back over here and you realize, wow, you know, I have a little extra room, wiggle room there, but I have nothing over there. So all I need to do now is go about this distance and shave off. So my blade is going to start hitting the tile right about here, and I'm just going to shave off just a tad going across that direction. Once I do that, this will drop in here perfectly, and it'll give me the perfect cut. And I've already pre-cut the piece that goes in here, which I've already measured, and that will go in like so, and give me my 1/8 of an inch spacing on both sides. And that's basically as easy as it is. You know, there's no magic to this. It's just doing these diagonal measurements going straight up there. One of the reasons that your keystone tile, whatever you set first, the reason it has to be square like this, if you don't make it square, if you just, oh, okay, well, it's kind of sort of square, I didn't really measure it out. When you get to these ends over here and you do this little 14 1/4 measurement, you're going to have a gap on this side, and it's going to be touching over here, so the gap might be 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch or something, and you're like, oh crap, you know, you're going to be cutting a lot more tile, in other words, than what you need to. With this, one piece isn't square, and that's why this is a keystone. This is very, very important to have that as square as possible, so when you get to every single edge around here and you're trying to do one straight cut, that cut will be correct. So we're obviously just a little tad off. This house is, you know, probably, you know, in excess of 20 or 30 years, and there's some movement, stuff like that. So that's all the reason I can account for that little hair that's off, but it's still pretty close, because this one you focus on the most, and then everything else follows suit afterward. Cutting around door jambs is probably the most difficult when you're doing a diagonal. Diagonal cuts, other than themselves, sometimes when you have a recess like with the sliding door, are a little difficult, but these are probably the most difficult. This one is not too bad. I have maybe about 5 inches that wrap around right at the edge of the door jamb, but when I actually have the tile that's diagonal right here that wants to wrap around it, I can't get a good cut. So what I'll sometimes do, since this is a laundry room, sometimes I'll make my cut the way I'm going to as I wrap around it, and then this part I'll just do one straight cut, and then I'll put that piece back together again, and then the grout usually matches, and then I just grout it in, and you can't really tell unless you're looking for it. But these cuts can take a long time. I probably spent a good part of 20 minutes making this cut, and I cut it twice. So obviously this won't go to scrap, but I had to cut it twice because sometimes your first cut around these don't really work out too well. You're a little bit, you know, you've taken off too much of your tile, so your second time around you usually get it right on point. However, you're always cutting a little larger than you think so that you can shave off. It's easier to shave off than keep on going through 3 or 4 or 5 tile and wasting all that money in tile and everything. So I did a lot of shaving on this tile. I probably went back and forth to my tile saw about 5 times, at least 5 times, maybe 6. So now, after all that time, I have a cut that works. And as I said, there was no tricks or anything that I could show you. I mean, I could show you how to cut, but it's kind of, you know, a moot issue, because you're going to cut it the way that you're going to cut it once you draw out your pattern. And there are some people that will literally make like a pattern out of newspaper or just cardboard or something like that to wrap around it. There's also a tool that has little, what do you call it, for lack of a better term, little pins, and when you push that tool up against there and you transfer that mark onto your tile, you're supposed to get a good cut. I've never really had a lot of luck with those tools. I just do it by measurement. So I know from my measurement that it's a certain measurement from that corner to there, then I stop and I make my mark, and I know that it's going to kind of wrap around here, and then I make another mark going that way. You need a square, as I said before. And then, you know, you just start cutting away and shaving and cutting and shaving and all that stuff until you get it right. So unfortunately, I can't really show you how to do one of those wraparounds. These diagonal cuts are much easier, and you know, it is what it is. I have that one, I have this one I have to do, I have that one, and I have that one. So that's gonna fill up probably about an hour of my time just to make 4 cuts, which is crazy. In an hour I could usually get, you know, a dozen tile set already, but you know, it is what it is.